Oh, it's that weird animated movie that's so badly animated that everybody talks about. Hey everyone, this is Rapsittie Street Animation Bliss, and welcome to another Spotlight Cartoon Corner. So today's Spotlight cartoon we'll be talking about today is the infamous Christmas special, Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa. And before I get into my thoughts about this special, here are a few words from the channel. Alright, Animaniacs, now let's get on the social media train. Want to chat with us in 100 words or less? Then check out our Twitter account. Want to chat with us within a group? Then check out our Facebook account. Want to get the lowdown on everything dealing with animation on this channel? Then check all of the above. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So Rapsittie Street Kids is one of those animated specials that's become very infamous among the animation community. And I happen to be one of the few animation channels that didn't discuss about this special. Well, that changes today as I finally sat down and watched this animated special, and I wanted to see just why this particular special was so controversial within the animation community. And after I finally watched it, I can see why this particular special is so controversial in the animation community. But before we get into my thoughts about this special, here's a quick summary of the special. So the special starts off with a young boy named Ricky who wants to give his crush Nicole a special gift for Christmas. It turns out that he decided to give up his teddy bear, which was given to him by his deceased mother, to Nicole. But unfortunately, when Ricky decides to give his teddy bear to Nicole, Nicole ends up snubbing Ricky and ends up throwing away his teddy bear in the trash can. But later on in the film, Nicole realizes that the teddy bear meant a lot to Ricky as it was a gift from his deceased mother, and this made Nicole feel real bad about how she treated Ricky, so she decided to go ahead and try to find the teddy bear out of the dumpster and give it back to Ricky. So here's a brief history about this particular animated film, because let's just say that this film has quite a controversial production going on throughout. For one thing, this film cost over $500,000 to make. Now that's going to be very important later on in this review, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, just so you know that this film cost over $500,000 to make. Another thing about this film was that it was animated using a program called the 3D Choreographer, which is basically something that you use for animating stuff in your PowerPoint presentations, and it was not meant to be something used for a TV special or a movie. And we'll get more into that later on in this review. And then the last thing about this movie that I wanted to talk about is that it has some of the most recognizable voice actors and actresses in this particular film. Like you have Mark Hamill, you have Paige O'Hara, you have Nancy Cartwright, and then you have Jodie Benson voicing some of the characters throughout this film. And we'll get more into that later on. So now let's talk about how I felt about this film. Well, let's talk about what I did like about this film first. So the first thing I did like about this film was that it does have a really good voice cast. As I mentioned before, it has a phenomenal voice cast like Jodie Benson, Nancy Cartwright, Mark Hamill, and Paige O'Hara voicing the characters. And these are all voice actors who are involved in some pretty big projects, like Paige O'Hara is the voice of Belle in the original Beauty and the Beast animated film. Jodie Benson was the voice of Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Mark Hamill is of course Luke Skywalker, and then you got Nancy Cartwright, who's a veteran in the voice acting community. So you have all these fantastic voice actors in this film, and they all did a very good job with portraying these characters. Even though the script itself was kind of the voice work for these characters were done very well, and I do love how the characters were being voiced in this particular special. Another thing I did like about the special was the music. I felt like the music was probably one of the best parts of this special. Like, I really did like the song Look at Me, which was sung by Paige O'Hara, where she was singing Nicole's song, and I thought that was a pretty good song throughout this film. And there's some other songs, like award bait songs, that was sang by famous musical artists, and I think they did a pretty good job with singing those songs. So I think the music and the vocal talent were the strongest points in this particular special. Now let's talk about what I didn't like about this special, and there's quite a bit I didn't like about this special. So the main thing I wanted to talk about is of course the animation itself. This particular special was infamous for its really bad animation. Like, the problem with the animation in the special is that the characters don't really move that fluently, and most of the time the characters are just standing there with these dead-eye facial expressions, and I had a hard time trying to figure out what the characters were actually feeling in this special because their facial expressions were so blank most of the time, and they rarely showed any other kind of facial expressions except dead eyes throughout the whole special. So yeah, the animation was pretty bad. Like, the characters were so stilted, and the designs of the characters weren't that well done either. Like, the characters look a bit too bizarre, and it just threw me off from the film entirely because of the designs, and especially how badly animated the characters were, especially with the way they were walking. Like, the way they walk is so stilted that I was wondering to myself, are these characters really running or are they walking? I can't tell the difference because of how it's animated. Another thing I didn't like about this special was the plot. Like, I found the plot to be very generic, and I also found the plot to be a bit confusing to follow. Like, it seems like this movie has several different plot lines going on. Like, you have one plot line that has Ricky trying to give his teddy bear to Nicole, and then you have another plot line where Nicole is trying to get Ricky's teddy bear back and tries to be a nicer character in the process. And then you have another storyline where the kids are trying to decide if they believe in Santa Claus or not. So you have all of these different plot lines going on throughout this film, and it's really hard to follow this film because the plot line was so all over the place. And again, the plot line about the main characters trying to believe in Santa Claus, or you have this one main character who's like a jerk to everybody else, but then they become better characters as the film progresses. It's like something I've seen in a lot of Christmas specials before this, and the plot just doesn't really bring anything new to this particular special. And in regards to the animation, I've seen a lot of other CGI animated series that were done before this special came out. Like, this special came out in 2002, and yet I've seen fully CGI shows like Reboot and Beast Wars that both came out way before this special came out and were better animated than this particular special. So it's shocking to me that the animation for this is so bland and so badly done, whereas other CGI productions that came out before Believe in Santa were done so much better and were much more fluid with their production. But overall, why I did like the music in this film, and I thought that the vocal talents were very well done. This film really suffers from really bad animation and a very confusing plot, and I think that if the plot was handled a little better and if the animation was handled a bit better, I think the special would have been much more watchable. Like, I will admit that I had a hard time trying to sit through the special because the animation was just so bad and the plot was just so confusing to me. And I think that if they had just improved on the animation and the plot itself, it would have been a much more watchable movie for me. So if you're looking for a Christmas special that was very infamous among the animation community for its bad animation, then yeah, you should definitely check out Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa if you could sit through it. So those are my thoughts on Rapsittie Street Kids Believe in Santa, and tell me in the comments down below, have you seen this animated Christmas special? And if you have, did you like this special? Did you hate this special? And what's another infamous animated film that has bad animation that you have seen before? Please let me know in the comments down below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Rapsittie Animation Bliss, and I'll see you guys later. Hey animation fans, like this video? If you want to see more animated content from this channel, then please hit that big old animated subscribe button so that you can get more awesome content from this channel.